If Tavares returns, I am very curious to see what that looks like. If they sign him to a deal, whatever it is, 3-year deal, 4-year deal, what's that dollar amount? And who has to explain it? John or Tree Living? I would suggest both. I would suggest both. But let's say it's $7 million on a 3-year deal.
$7 million?
Sure, that's what he's asking for.
Be two.
Sure, that's what he's asking for. He might be asking for more.
I think, here's the thing. Do you not think that if John Tavares wants to stay, it's going to have to be definitely a hometown discount? But can't you do it July 10th? Like what?
Yeah,
what
but he's probably saying, I got to get my life sorted out here. You think I'm going to sit around and wait? And what if they give him the hard one and just on July 10th they're like,
that ain't happening. There's no way Tavares and his camp will let that happen. I mean,
no, that's why he wants an answer. He wants to figure something out.
But
and he has the right
allow
to.
Him to.
Of course.
Yes. You can allow him to go to market and say, yeah, you know what, this team's going to give me 8. Well, you say, congratulations, take the 8. And you go and you look at other players. You like, that's the biggest thing. Unless you absolutely want him as your third line center for next season, that can kiss up into the second line center, all of that type of stuff, or play wing. Like,
who's playing second line though if it's not John Tavares? Like, that's the question.
Well, this is where you got to get creative.
This
is where you're talking about trades. It's not about signings. It's about trades. It's about finding players within the league that need change of scenery. We were just talking about how everybody's open for business. Everybody wants to. You don't think Brad Treliving's working the phones right now? And
well, obvious, I'm sure he is. But again, if you're saying Tavares is your third line center, then you can't even pay him $5 million a year, in my opinion. Like, if you have him penciled as your third line center, you got to have. What does Lundell make? 4.5? You can't pay a guy $6-7 million to be on your third line.
If he is your third line centerman, why would you want to pay him $7 million? Like, that's when those numbers come. Like, I just don't understand why Patrice Bergeron was at the end of the line and he signs for $2.5 million, and all these, like, I have the comments coming my way in public where it's like, yeah, just 3 years at $9 makes sense to me, and I'm like, you guys are all
I know,
insane.
It's crazy talk.
Dude,
and that's not going to happen. I mean, the Leafs. Yeah. I don't think so. I don't know. I mean, the Leafs have a history.
If I ran the Leafs, it would be very simple. We just gave you $80 million. You're going to do us a favor on this one, or we're not doing it. Sorry. There's no 7. There's no 6. There's nothing. None of that talk is happening here. If you want to come back and you really want to stay here and that's your only objective, you are doing us a serious favor. That's the only way and the only terms that this deal is happening. Take it or leave it. Go and find a place to play because it won't be here.
Yep. I totally agree with that. I see it the exact same way you do, but that doesn't mean Tree Living does, and it doesn't mean Tavares does. And that's what we're going to find out in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But
like, good player, guys. Scores a lot of points. Scored 38 goals last year. For the $80 million, and he was a part of it, they won 2 playoff series. So why would there be such a need to bring the player back? Like, are people insane? They never won. Why do you have to bring anyone back? Get different players. Try it. What the hell is it? What's worse that can happen?
Yeah.
I'm so sick of talking.
People
are so
and
dumb.
Go out there and find pieces, man. And it might take more than a year. People don't want to hear that, but that's the truth. It may take a couple of years to fill out your roster appropriately. And I would say the idea that this, you have to do it for Matthews. You don't owe Austin Matthews anything anymore. He owes you something.
Yes.
And William Nylander owes you something. You paid them a fortune, and they didn't show up when you needed them. You don't owe them anything in their window to win. Like, if it takes you a year or two, so be it. And put even more pressure on them to make sure that it doesn't have to be that much of a timeline. Go out there and pull your weight and find a way to help this team win.
And we're just talking about Jonathan Toews, where the reports are indicating he may make a decision on where he's going to play within the next couple of weeks. Can't officially sign until July 1st, but He didn't play last year, right? So
he's sat out.
Different rules. He can talk to whoever he wants to and make
Fascinating
a
to see what that deal will look like.
Can you imagine anything beyond a 1-year deal? Like, do you think anyone would give him 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, depends on how desperate you want him into your fold, right? I think he can get a couple years depending on the setting. Again, if you're trying to get a number, like if he's got 5 different
I don't
teams
even
that want
think,
him,
Jamie, he wants more than 1 year.
I
Like,
think
he's
he'll
just trying to
take
get
1
back.
year.
He's just trying to get back playing.
I agree, but he's going to pick a setting where he feels it's best suited for him. Comfortable environment, a role where he doesn't have to be the man. He can just be a contributing guy and kind of wade his way
He'll
back
want
in
to
the
win
league.
too.
Yeah, agreed.
Well,
I agree.
What if it's Florida? Like, what if he signs with the Florida Panthers?
Yeah, Sam Bennett moves on, and they move Lundell up and say,
Yep.
Toews, you can have our third line center if you'd like.
Pretty
For
good
$1 million
setup.
a year.
Pretty good little setup. State tax.
Not bad.
All that good stuff. Here's Pierre LeBrun, our TSN Hockey Insider. Pierre, what are you hearing on Jonathan Toews? And, who's in the mix to possibly sign him?
Yeah, what I know is that when the news first got out a couple of weeks ago that he was 100% committed and coming back. I mean, the agent for Jonathan Toews, Brisson, his phone exploded. Some teams just want to know like what's what. But what's happened here over the last couple of days is that Brisson has shortened the list to 3 or 4 serious possibilities for Jonathan Toews. I don't know what all the teams are on there, but I do know Winnipeg's one of them. Beyond that, I think it's possible Colorado is potentially one of them, but I don't know all of them. And at some point,
we have to ask you, Pierre, is Toronto on it?
I don't know. I'm not saying they can't be. I mean, listen, it actually would make sense to me when you're talking about wanting to change the DNA of some of your team and your Brad Treliving. But I don't know that Toronto is one of them. I just can't. I just can't answer that for sure for you.